Howdy, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's me, Failures, the guy who thinks he is funnier than he actually is. And I'm gonna say, sorry for not posting, I got the old 1-2 combo from a virus, and my Voldemort-style raspy voice isn't exactly appealing to you guys. Except for now, when it's a little bit better. As well as that, I've basically hibernated, procrastinating so long that I've basically been dead. While I was 6 feet under, I have had time to review things. Big things, little things, the fact that my mouth didn't match my speech things, so now you're back to watching a floating PNG of a white blob rotate around your screen for a few hours. But hey, at least I'm stylized. Hey, did you just get more budget cuts? Now you don't need to color them in. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, I'm not going to pretend that stand-up is easy, even though I am notoriously funny. The joke here is that I'm really not. You know, maybe a script not consisting of bullet points written on Microsoft text might be better. Enjoy the video, lads. I'm about to travel to Sweden to set up a legal bank account. What? No way. A game I haven't content farmed into extinction, and it's free? Damn, we're making it out of debt with this one, guys. Like the IRS, Rental is a game where an ethereal entity chases you. But before I monologue about my crippling money problems, a word from present me. Hey, as I said, this game is free. And if it is anything like my last video on these types of games, you probably want to play this game before watching this. Then come back and watch it. I'm gonna warn you though, it's a bit spoopy, you might get some jump scares. I will be theory crafting about this game and try to improve it, and I need the views and social credit, so please come back and see me screaming at a mic for a few minutes. Or hours, I don't know how long the script will actually go for. It's already 1 minute in and I got 7 more pages. Anyway, this script is more immersion breaks than a Digital Circus episode, and the only thing I could do to ruin it would be to ask you fellas to subscribe, in perhaps a pleading voice, while showing you a video clip I made 5 months ago, and is still funny to me to this day. But that would be ridiculous. I would never commit such heinous crimes. Talking of immersion breaking, I should probably hate on this game first. But I must stress, this game is better than Bacon, and I haven't had so much fun playing a free horror game since the horror of Sheepy's terrifying glitches. I get Vietnam flashbacks every time I remember the time I reverse Metroidvania'd the game. Anyway, where should I begin? Oh yeah, the repetition. Spoilers ahead. So, when I was first playing the game, I was suspenseful as hell. This was backed up by a few good things, which I will mention later. However, the scare relies on you not being desensitized. The scare in question, however, is a spoopy analog horror effect that is like FNAF Security Breach camera overlay, and it shows up a cat towering over you. I'm not sensitive about my height, shut up. But he seems way too tall to be natural. Basically, this scare jumps you around every 1 or so minutes, locks your camera and movement, and shows you an ethereal furry that never quite wrangles you in time, which is great. And the problem is, 1, or should I say 2 achievements. The first one is Curious Bunny. This cursed achievement should be easy, but is deceptively easy. Wait, what? This achievement is also deceptively broken. I'm not sure if I have somehow missed 1 interactable. In the whole hour I have played a 10-minute long game, it did not pop once. Also locking me out of the achievement that is given to me for attaining all of the other achievements. And as a completionist such as myself, that's pretty bad. Including the one with a golden version of the protagonist, which I really want. But apart from that, I'm assuming the game is mainly glitch-free, or at least enough for me to enjoy the game, while only experiencing one of the possibly worst glitches I could have in that situation. Despite the glitch-free experience, there is some issues I have with the map, which would be part of the lore, but I'm not MatPat. I just want to be. And around the edge of the house, next to the secret door, there's just a plain drop into the void. I'm not sure if this is intentional, but I need one. My bedroom is already messy, and a straight drop into the endless abyss wouldn't go amiss. Hey, that rhymed. As well as that, the scare of getting chased by tall Garfield surprisingly wears off after 1 hour of playing. With no consequences behind it, it removes the risk factor of the jump scare, which is the only thing that made it remotely scary in the first place. However, this game is sadly well crafted, using good game design and disgustingly amazing atmosphere to convince you that you are, in fact, in peril, conveying a sense of danger only drunk driving could replicate. The fast-paced gameplay makes it a fun game to speedrun, unless you're in the mirror section of course, and if you do beat the game in under 10 minutes, you get a neat achievement that doesn't break, and an ending. There are 2 endings in question here to my current knowledge, neither being the true ending, as they both convey the same plot twist, involving you waking up only to realize that you were trapped in a loop, or it was a dream, depending on what ending you get. In the regular NPC ending, where you either forget an item's location, or just mess around with Long Garfield and end up taking more than 10 minutes, then you wake up in the front yard of your house, where the game starts, dazed as your mother screams at you to get inside the house, before realizing that you are comatose, and maybe they should check that out first. However, you luckily wake up in time. Either your expectations are met, or you're trapped in a literal hellscape of a loop, or it was just a bad dream and we were all fine. I will touch on the endings in the future, but surprisingly, they are weirdly unimportant for how prominently they are shown. Just like me. In the second ending, however, it takes the cake for being both the least and the most creative. If you decide to go Dream speedrunning mode and get the famed golden splits, then you will achieve peak content and watch one of the best cutscenes. Basically, they copied and pasted the script for the first one, but this time, you're not yet there, reflected by your speedy time and grace in replaying the game. Sadly, I've checked, there is no achievement for beating the game in 5 minutes, and I tried. Casual speedrun time flex. But in all seriousness, the creativity of adding a continuity through both endings is something that surprisingly some big game companies lack, let alone this random free horror game that I found on Steam, and how getting them to actually make sense in the game world, squeezing out some more juicy immersion in the process. Security breach, looking at you. Now, in all honesty, I really like the game. However, the repetitiveness of the Thin Man Felix the Cat jump scares really bogged the game down, as it seems, on the surface at least, that they don't make a lot of sense. Don't worry, my confuzzled and possibly troubled friends, I've got you here. I've crafted a theory that will rival only MatPat, or his replacement. Too soon? Anyway, apart from that, the pixelated graphics look very nice and stylized and help decently hide potential flaws in the 3-polygon wide models. The animations are decent enough for what they do, and the dialogue is generally creepy at times, while other times just seems like they pirated Animal Crossing. Well, lucky for you, I like Animal Crossing! So, all in all, this game gets 8 crosses out of 10 candles, an angry man, and a woman behind bars. See how I snuck the reference in? So overall, a pretty good game. Now, most of you probably stay for this, so won't hide it any longer. I have studied this game for a while, trying to crack its tightly guarded hoard of secrets. There are so many questions, like, why is there a slender furry? Why are we trapped here? What's up with the no-clipping rental man? And what is going on with the maze room? Well, sit back folks, if you weren't already, and enjoy the theory. Also, enjoy clicking that subscribe button. Wouldn't want your knees to get stolen now, would you? So, let's start right at the beginning, where it all happened. We start the game on the title screen, where we can see a blue, normal-looking family van driving towards the house. Now, for continuity, let's assume this van is ours, as it shares the same color and model to the one we found at the park. While I haven't looked in the game files, I'm assuming it'll be called the same thing as well. For now, when we arrive, our family is circled around us, and interacting with them once, each will get the We Are Family achievement, and interacting again will get the We Are Family Twice achievement. Neat? Now, what's interesting to note here is that the door is already open, but the family is not entered yet. This could lead us to believe one of 3 things. First is game design, using them as convenient tutorial for interacting, the thing that we do in a game, you know, the only other button apart from West, but this is boring, and also probably correct. The second assumption is that we can gather that they are still getting something from the trunk, or just still preparing. This is also reasonable, and boring. The third is one that I'll touch on in an alternating theory, so remind me then. And after we interrogate our family for some free achievements, we happily trespass onto our new home, and immediately it slams shut. Howdy guys, it's me, Failures, but from the future, and more tired. I just noticed that I never actually mentioned why the family was, not going in the house. Later on in the theory, I used emotions and stuff like that, and I theorized that maybe the family not going inside was because they actually knew the house was a trap and wanted Umi to go in first. Anyway, back to slightly less tired Failures. Again. And immediately, it just slams shut. Now, if we try to escape by interacting, Umi, the main character, calmly states that it is locked. We then travel through a very disturbing looking hallway to find a rental man, casually standing in the room. This is where things get spicy. Walking up to him and talking to him will get basically pop the news that you're an orphan. As well as that, he instructs you on how to get out, so you must collect certain items in order to do something. He then starts disappearing and reappearing in a very haphazardly fashion. Big word. After that, spending an amount of time in the house, we encounter the long Garfield for the first time. He just kind of sits there, watching us as the character gabbers on about her feelings. Hey, kinda like you guys! After collecting enough stuff, a door opens and we find a secret area, which is a maze. Unlike the house, there is no threat there, and we are free to get lost all on our own. Hooray! There are 3 crosses there, and collecting your third gets you into a room filled with rocks. Placing them in a circle, you summon your really big version of the monster that's been stalking us. And then you get an ending, depending on your game time. Let's tick off the first question immediately, as it is by far the simplest to explain. Who, what, and why is the Garfield cat? Well, for starters, he seems very intent on following us, and not interacting. I've tried for 10 minutes to try and get him to FNAF-style jumpscare me. However, he always keeps his distance, COVID style. As well as that, we know he teleports, as he always shows up near you, no matter what room you're in. This is very showing on the first part who he is. There is one character that we outright see teleporting, disappearing through the worlds, then coming back, seemingly at will. This is the rental man. This makes complete sense, as he's been trapped in the house for a while. But the minute you come, he starts to disappear. Furthermore, who has technical ownership of the house? The rental man. We haven't even gone inside it yet. Now, it is very confusing on whether he is in control of himself in that state, or if he's simply just a monster walking around, but I think I can answer that too. We see through his dialogue that he likes Umi, or at least tolerates her enough to get her the way out, even though he could not. The strange thing is, if he knows all the items to the ritual, and he knows about the secret room, then why has he not gotten them himself? It's very simple. He laid a trap for Umi, hoping to trap an innocent person in the house with him, in an attempt to banish himself out. Freeing him, he laid all the items in a very particular fashion, so they were just spread out so they would need resolve to collect them. As if they didn't, they might give up on the maze. But failures, why doesn't he just do the banishing ritual himself? Simple, random person who broke into my house. He can't get into the maze. I inferred this because he's never shown walking into the maze. And you have like a green tinted camera effect, despite this being the part where you spend the longest amount of time. This is also why he told you about the secret room, but doesn't tell you how to get to it. He doesn't know. This could also represent some other things he gets you to collect, the angry man representing him, even either dialogue he says, an angry man, no, not me, and a woman behind bars representing you. You are the woman who is trapped with this angry beast in a virtual prison. Even in the ritual, he inserts himself. Now, if you remember, completing the ritual seems to bring Umi back to the place just before she entered the house at the front lawn. This is exactly what the rental man wanted, as it would lead him to the place where he was when Umi had not entered yet. But this world is cruel, a very cruel place. And when was he? Where was he? And how was he right before Umi had entered? Yup, he was already in the house! This just further shows how trapped he is. Maybe rental is an analogy for the 9-to-5 jobs we all work inside. There is, however, one way to save him. If we beat the game in under 10 minutes, then we wake up in the car, not on the lawn. This is presumably when the rental man is about to enter the house, as we can tell by the placement of the cutscene that it is a rather random place for the true ending to take place, unless it was saving the man all along. This is why the rental man turns into a beast, to motivate you to beat the game faster. So there's no consequences to you, and this brings us back to the title screen, where we can see our car, just about to enter the house. This is right where the man enters the rental house, and that's where we kick things off. But one thing isn't adding up. If the rental man enters the house, when we get there, why does he act like he's been trapped in the house for so long? Well, this can be answered by the maze. In the maze, we see reflections of ourselves, and in this maze as well, we can't tell how much time has passed. Now we can assume it has only been the in-game amount of time, but I think otherwise. This brings us onto one of the other questions. What the hell is up with the maze? Well, once we have left the maze, we enter what is presumably a different dimension. The rock dimension. But what if I told you it was the house? It is very plain to see in this dimension a huge cat beast, or should I say bunny beast now, which can only be found in the house dimension, is shown there. Furthermore, we can see the void. While this may seem like a stylized choice, or budget cuts, I think that it is personally part of the lore. We can actually see in the original house a path that drops into the black void, showing us that the house isn't connected to real life, but floating in the void. This is probably a fail-safe to make sure people can't break down the door. The rocks floating around as well could be something else. Perhaps it's the house! Yes, I'm implying that we are in the maze for enough time that the house could crumple, and the cat monster could bulk up on steroids enough to triple its size. This further shows the volatility of the time in this scary dimension. Hang on. This game, it's not a metaphor for depression? Ridiculous. Watch, fellow viewers, as I spin the tale to fit my Amoria-related agenda, and, make a good theory. If there is one theory that hasn't been content farmed more, it's that games are actually just metaphors for some emotion, including depression, anger, or, in this case, rental being an obsession. In my opinion, emotion shown in Rental is about transitions. If we go by my headcanon theories, pulling a Jaro here, love you bro, then we can assume that throughout the game, the house starts to deteriorate. In my opinion, the house represents reality. It traps Umi, wait, I really haven't said her name in a while, in the cold hard reality with no escape from the fact that she is moving house and most likely losing all her friends. Slowly, the house will deteriorate, showing her acceptance of this. The cat represents either the pressure of her parents or of herself. I somehow scrounge just from the small things I noticed. The cat is always present, watching. Whenever the cat arrives, Umi immediately feels sick and is paralyzed for a few seconds. The intent of the cat is to scare you and is never directly harming you, just like the pressure of parents. They are always watching Umi, trying to push her towards her goals, in this case the ritual, even when she isn't ready, as shown by the ritual where she doesn't know what to say, and could hypothetically have messed it up by spouting some random words, Eminem style. The crosses and candles are just objects used to create a fictional task to keep you busy in the house, but the interesting items here are the angry man and the woman behind bars. In my opinion, they could represent two completely different things. Either they could represent, guess what? Emotions! As a certified male, I have no idea what these are. But continuing, also unrelated note, but it is normal to cry yourself to sleep. Anyway, the angry man could represent rage, as shown by his title, the angry man. But the woman behind bars, she's a real special one, a real pickle if you want to say that, as she could represent two whole emotions. She could represent the physical feeling of being trapped, as shown by the, prison bars. However, this could also represent emotions, as shown by Umi's volatile predicament outside and inside of her life. Another interesting thing to note here is that another picture where a family is standing there and Umi specifically comments on, "There's an ugly kid as well." This is very interesting as it could imply, again, two things. I'm on a roll! The first is possibly negative friend relationship with her dear brother, I think. Not sure of their gender and nor do I care. Commenting specifically on their opinions or appearance. This could also represent self-hatred, going out of her way to comment on her own appearance. This could also be reflected when you pick up the drippy as hell necklace, apart from getting an achievement, which is pretty nice. You also get the dialogue, where Umi says that she will finally be pretty. It's also interesting to note that, in the ritual, all of the paintings, apart from the self-hatred one, get destroyed, hinting either that she had it before the move, or there's a possible, not Silksong sequel? Anyway, despite my 9-paragraph long script, surprisingly, I do in fact have some improvements that could be made on the game, and I will now list them for your displeasure, or maybe enjoyment, depending on what you're doing and how long it will take. First off, can we please have a bigger map? I'm sure it wouldn't take too much effort, he says to the poor indie developer making it for a game jam. As well as that, can we have an inventory or a checklist of sorts so we can list all the items we have, and maybe a unique box for collecting the optional necklace? This could avoid confusion and make the hype to get the boring maze maybe more real. Can we get much higher? As well as that, once you collect the first or second cross, maybe the arbitrary cutscene where you get sick, play instead of randomly after. This will give collecting items a meaning, and instead of just some random nausea effect. As well as that, can we please get a way to die? Trust me, I'm no Souls player. Sort of. But I think adding a death to the game will actually improve the tension, not ruin it. Here are my suggestions. Why don't we get the nausea effect in the house? Maybe it is so that for a brief period of time, you can hide under tables and beds and cupboards, and as you get a few seconds before the scary Garfield Mafia comes, he will try to look for you, and if you're not hiding, you just get comboed 1-2, beat up, killed, murdered, whatever you want. and he tries to hunt you down. As well as that, we can make it so that in the maze, there's an entity that chases you, Shipwreck 64 style, and tries to trap you in dead ends, now aptly named cause that's what you'll be if you reach one. This will add more drama, and a cool way to implement him would be where when you enter the maze, the entity would form behind you, or maybe crash through the wall, as you know, everything's mirrors, so you'd be able to see behind you. Either way, setting up the big bad of the level, like we did in the ruined house, or what I'm going to call the void. If we set up a timer, that would never get you naturally, but if it did, perhaps it would get an optional ending. It adds extra pressure and flavour. Like perhaps Big Garfield could slowly walk towards a circle, and you would need to do the ritual before he arrives, or parts of the ground could fall away. The deaths in those games would be different. A death from the cat in the house would cause you to restart the house. A death in the maze means you could keep all your neat Jesus sticks, but restart from the front of the maze, and maybe you must make your way back. If you die in the final part, maybe an ending could happen. Also, please fix Curious Bunny. Thank you! Anyway, thanks for watching. You've been an amazing audience, and I have been a mediocre theorist. Please subscribe and please watch all my content, no matter how cringe it is. Thank you for watching my essay on rental. Bye.